Good morning, everyone. On today's show, I get to talk for the very first time about a Krabby Souls-like that I partook in yesterday, and I'm actually looking forward to playing more of later in the week. In addition, it is time to finally start talking about our next major game over on DSP Throwback, as the Final Fantasy XIII playthrough, after over 3 months, is finally approaching its conclusion. All of this and more on today's episode of the Level 1 Podcast. Alrighty, everybody, good morning. It is Sunday, April 28th, 2024. And you know what that means. It means it's React Day. And that all day long today, I will be doing React-style content on my other YouTube channels other than DSPGaming as we take a break from the gaming marathon that I usually do here. I'm excited for that, as you know. First, it's my weekly clip show, DSP versus the Internet, over on DSP Reacts. Which is a big variety show of clips from all over the place as submitted by the channel members. Usually a fun show, and I cannot wait for it this week. And of course, tonight, we're getting further into The Walking Dead Telltale Game Season 1 as we do a retro react event over on my DSP Throwback channel, where we're going to finish up Episode 3 and then get into Episode 4 as we're making a push for the end. So, I am excited. I really do like these different... I really do like these different things that we do on React Day. It's a great time. And I hope that you guys will join me over there. Or I should say, on the various channels. Wow, I really am getting angry at this laptop. And here's why. This is absolutely ridiculous. So, yeah, this laptop, just to give you an example of what I'm going through here. This laptop runs on Windows 10. Okay? It's right in front of me every single stream that I do. And every once in a while it pops up, oh, Windows Update. Well, I don't like doing the Windows updates every time they do them, because if you just do them automatically, sometimes they'll do them like several times in a week, sometimes several times in a month. Now, I have my laptop set up specifically in a way for each channel. You know, I'm here on DSPGaming quite a lot streaming, and I have one set up for this channel where I can monitor the chat, I can see your contributions, and all that is laid out for me. But then I have two other setups, one for the React channel and one for the Throwback channel, that I basically use once a week when we're over there doing those streams. I like having all that set up ahead of time so I can just jump right in. When Windows Update happens, it frequently, when it restarts, doesn't open up those browsers again to the tabs and everything I have set up. And I literally have to start from scratch, open this window, resize this window, get the chat open here, do this. It's a bunch of work. So I don't like doing the updates all together. Usually I'll try to group them all together and do them all in bulk. But this stupid thing, it keeps popping up that there's Windows updates. I literally just did a Windows update yesterday. And now one pops up, oh, there's a Windows update. I just did it, you stupid thing. And Microsoft is pissing me off, because you absolutely should have the ability to say, I don't want to do any updates ever. Just leave me alone. If I want to do an update, I'll choose to do it. They don't do that. They literally bug you and nudge you and then automatically force you to do it, which is ridiculous. What makes them think that they have the time or they have the power to tell me when to do an update, right? So here I am. I'm trying to get this to stop, and it just keeps popping up, Windows Update. I mean, I guess I have to tell it, pause updates. So dumb. Pause updates. So I have the ability to tell it to pause updates for a month. Yeah. Actually, I can tell it to pause updates till June. Yeah, do that. It's so dumb. There. Pause all updates till June. And then when they bother me in June, I'll figure out if I want to do it again. What a pain in the butt. I wonder if anyone knows if there's a way to actually control it fully. I would love to hear it. Because I don't know how you own a computer and you don't have the ability to just tell it stop. Just stop. I'll do it when I feel like it. Don't force me to do it. Anyway, sorry about that, because I'm sitting here, the podcast starts, and it pops up in my face. Oh, you need a Windows update. I just fucking did it yesterday. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Welcome to the show, everyone. React Day is fun. What I'd like to do today on the podcast is a couple things. Number one, I want to talk about another Krabs Treasure, the Souls-like game that's more cutesy fun, but still pretty difficult, that I played yesterday here on the channel, giving you an update on what I feel and how I feel, the game is going to go moving forward. In addition to that, we have to talk the new project for DSP Throwback, because the first project I started on that channel back in early January was the Final Fantasy 13 playthrough that had been missing from the internet due to the channel that it was on being deleted from YouTube because of hacking and basically people doing copyright infringing stuff on that channel. So now that playthrough is almost done, we're in the home stretch, and I'll talk a little bit about that. We need to figure out what's next. And I think there's various different options that we can go with that would all be fine. And I'm curious what your take is on it. I'd like to get people's opinions, because within a week or two, I'm going to need to know what's the next game so my editors can start work on it. So we're going to have that discussion this morning, okay? So let's do it. Let's go back one day, yesterday, and let's talk about the new game that I played called Another Krabs Treasure. So first of all, this game is made by a company called Crab, and I guess this company has made other games before. Wasn't there a game where you are a crab and you have like swords and stuff? And I guess they had made that game, I believe. I don't remember what it was called because I didn't play it. I've seen footage of it on the internet, and it's like, it's like a memeable game, right? But I don't know how viable that game is for any kind of serious play. I've never touched it. And I never played it. So in regards to this one, Another Krabs Treasure. So first of all, it's Game Pass. Thank goodness, because when games are on Game Pass, it allows me to try various games that normally I wouldn't touch. I mean, we just did this about 2 weeks ago with Harold Halibut, and now we're doing it with Another Krabs Treasure. It's a Souls-like. So what does that mean? It means it absolutely emulates many of the gameplay elements and features of games that From Software would make, particularly the Dark Souls series. Now, does it mean that it's exactly like Dark Souls? No. In fact, I can tell you right now from playing it, it's a hybrid. It plays somewhat like Dark Souls when it comes to the responsiveness of the controls. And when it comes to things such as, what do you call it? Like the bonfires, which in this one are moon shells and stuff like that. And definitely the difficulty level. It's a difficult game right from the get-go, okay? In fact, no exaggeration, right from the beginning. You go through the very brief intro area. You go to the first open world where you can explore, and immediately there is a boss that is an optional boss that shows up that is way too powerful for you in the beginning of the game. This is exactly what they did with Elden Ring, where as soon as you went into the open world of Limgrave, there was the tree sentinel right there. You're like, oh, is this a normal enemy? No, it's a crazy tough boss, and, you can beat it at the beginning of the game, but it's way hard. They did exactly the same thing in Another Krabs Treasure, which is funny because it's basically like an homage, Easter egg, to Elden Ring. So the game's combat and traversal, let's talk a little bit about it. So you get a fork, and similar to Sekiro, I'm 3 hours in, this fork doesn't change. It's like a standard weapon, and basically it's a 4-hit swinging combo. When you attack, you basically swing left and right like this. So it's like left, right, left, and then if you did it all together, like left, right, left in a combo with, within a certain time period, you get a supercharged fourth bigger swing that does more damage and more stun. So the goal is essentially to try to get 3 hits, wait to get that opening, and then boom, hit with the 4th hit. That's going to do the big damage and the stun. That's kind of your go-to move, but it's tricky because you have to hit with the first 3 hits, or at least whiff the first 3 hits first to time the 4th one perfectly. There's a dodge, and the dodge is very similar to, I would say, again, kind of like Sekiro, where it's a fast dodge where you can dodge left and right. You can also dodge forward and back. I found that dodging back almost never works. Really dodging to the side seems to be the go-to thing in this game. When they attack, you just roll to the side or dodge the side, and then you can get around the attack hitbox. Is there a blocking mechanic? Yes, and it's dependent on you finding a shell. Now, this is one of the unique things about the game, is that there's shells all throughout the game. You can get a tin can, you can get a soda can, you can get a banana peel, various different shells that you find, shot glasses, all kinds of stuff. And as you get further in the game, what happens is you get special abilities unlocked for each kind of shell that you get. So, for example, if you're the shot glass, you have 3 charges, and when you use a charge, spikes appear on your shell, and now you can roll around, and if the enemy touches you, they take damage. Okay? If you're the soda can, when you use one of these ability charges, it shoots fizzy bubbles up in the air that are essentially like area proximity mines. So if any enemy goes towards it, they go whoop and zoom in and hit the enemy for some good damage. They all appear to be completely different. Like, it looks like they're all good for different situations. So if you find a particular shell that you like, you might want to try to keep using that shell because you're good at using that ability. Problem is the shells have durability. So as you take damage, the shell gets damaged. And once it breaks, that's it. You have no shell. Now you have no ability to block attacks at all. As for blocking, it seems pretty effective except for giant attacks. But what it does is it reduces the amount of damage you take by a lot, but it also takes away the durability of your shell. So you only have a limited time to block. You're going to have to be dodging quite a bit in this game as well. Although I would almost go to say in the first 3 hours, at least from my experience, you could just dodge. You don't ever need to use the shell. But of course, that's going to make the game a heck of a lot harder. Now, there is a jumping attack where when you jump and press attack, you do like a spinning attack. It doesn't seem to do much or lead to anything. It's just as damaging as the normal attack, but it doesn't lead to a combo. And then you have to recover when you're landing. So I don't really see the viability of that unless you're platforming from platform to platform and just need to do an attack. Now, there are other abilities. For example, there's a plunging attack. There's a parry and riposte ability. There's more than that too, but here's the thing. They're unlockables in this game via a skill tree. Unlike a game like From Software would make, you don't have all your abilities at the beginning of another Krabs Treasure. You have to earn them by finding these optional crystals in the environment as the currency you use to level up in the skill tree. So basically, at the very end of yesterday's stream, after playing 3 hours, I unlocked parry, riposte, and like 1 or 2 other abilities. Plunge I got too, and I hadn't used them yet. So it's kind of like, oh, I wish I could tell you more about the game, but 3 hours in, I'm only just unlocking some of the basic abilities that likely are going to become the staples of gameplay the further in I go. So I can't give you a full opinion on the game as of today, simply because I'm not far enough into it, okay? So that's the combat aspect. Essentially, you run up to an enemy. They're all tough. Yes, many of them are tank-like. You have to dodge around, dodging their big swooping attacks, hit them a few times, try to finish a combo, and maybe block. Now, there is another mechanic, as I've already mentioned it, the stun mechanic. And the stun mechanic is basically that each enemy has a stun bar that fills up the more you hit them. Particularly against normal enemies, it's not that big of a deal because the normal enemy is going to die within a few hits anyway. But when you're fighting a mini-boss or a full-fledged boss, the stun is very important. Now, there's basically 2 ways to stun an opponent. Just doing your regular hits, or there's a charge attack where if you hold down the attack button and release, you go, oh, and then you charge forward and stab. That does a big chunk of stun usually. And once someone's stun meter fills, the stun meter starts blinking. And if you hold down the button and you do the heavy attack, you'll now do what's called a capsize, which in any other, FromSoft game, they'd call it like you staggered them. But in this case, the enemy will flip. Now, when they flipped or crunch or whatever you want to call it, crumble, they're open for a very limited amount of time. In this case, only a few seconds, maybe like 2-3 seconds, they're wide open. So maybe you'll get a free combo in there, okay? However, is there ability to like do what would be called like a visceral attack or a downed attack when they're down? Yes, but again, it's in the skill tree. And it's actually relatively further into the skill tree. So it's not something that you're going to be doing right from the get-go when it comes to the combat. So that's it. Now, are there other variations to the combat? Yes. What ends up happening is you get a fishing line that's primarily for traversal, but also you can use it in combat to hook enemies and pull them towards you. But I don't have that yet, so I can't talk about it until you get it. Again, everything seems to be an unlockable in this game. As for traversal, there is a lot of platforming in another Krabs Treasure. Way more so than most FromSoft games. Maybe you can argue Sekiro had a lot of it, and Elden Ring recently had a good amount. But this game seems like there's a lot of optional platforming where once you get this zip line that you can, hook onto hooks and swing around on nets, now that's going to be a lot of what you're doing in the game. And that's fine. It kind of makes it feel like a hybrid of like an old school platformer from like the PS2 era, but with the very challenging combat of a FromSoft game. It sucks that I didn't get further because I would really like to talk about the ins and outs of parrying and everything, but I can't yet because I didn't get to that. I'll get to that when I play it again later in the week. As for the design in the world, well, the world is cleverly designed. It's all underwater, and basically you're at the bottom of the ocean in sand, and you see all these items from up top that basically litter, right? I mean, every shell that you get, a banana peel or a tin can or a bottle cap, those are all things from humanity that have sunk down into the water. And even some of the weapons and things, like one of the boss uses a giant straw, and that's his lance, like he's a knight, but he's hitting you with a straw instead of a lance. So really, the design is quite interesting in that regard. You never know what you're going to be facing, and you never know what kind of items you're going to find in the environment from humanity that have become part of the undersea world. The story is kind of simple. Apparently, there is now a new government under the sea that is taxing everybody. Basically saying, we own everything, pay us taxes. And so your shell, you're a hermit crab, and your shell gets stolen from you right at the beginning of the game as a back tax payment. And now you're off on a quest to essentially figure out how you get your shell back. And that's the game at this point. I like how after a brief intro segment, you go right to an open world, and then you get to start exploring, much like Elden Ring. Like, it really does feel like they were trying to emulate the idea of Elden Ring with this game. And so initially in the first 3 hours, first of all, I fought that optional boss that was in the first area, and it took me over a half an hour, but I beat him. So much like the Tree Sentinel in Elden Ring that I spent like 2 hours trying to beat on my first stream, I beat this optional boss as well. I was very stubborn, but I got it done. Even with no blocking, no shell, nothing. None of that had been unlocked yet. I beat him with the most basic stuff. So then, after that, you end up going to a castle. And to get into the castle, they tell you need a shell. So head over to another area of the map where you actually fight the first real boss, who's supposed to be like a knight captain. And after you beat him, you get your first shell, which is a tin can. Now you start learning the block mechanic and how it works, and then you get access to the castle. You can explore. There's all optional ways to go where you can find optional items and upgrades. The way upgrades work is you collect pieces of stuff. So I think it's starfish limbs. When you collect 5 hidden starfish limbs, you get more health. And there's other upgrades as well. There's also healing flasks, which are actually called heart kelp in this game. It's just, oh, it's a piece of kelp. You pop it and you heal. So the same idea of healing flask. And yes, you can increase the maximum amount by finding a rare item in the environment. Yes, items are well hidden. In that regard, they're glowing items, just like Dark Souls, a glowing item on the ground. Yeah, I wonder what it is. It could be an item that you sell for the upgrade currency, which, by the way, the upgrade currency in this game are microplastics. Get it? Like, again, humanity having its big impact on everything is that the whole seabed is completely infested with microplastics, and that's the currency down there, which is pretty funny. So it could be that, or it could be an item that's a consumable for a certain purpose. It could be an upgrade item, like I mentioned, to upgrade your health or give you more heart kelp total outload, stuff like that. So again, essentially, they took all the stuff from FromSoft games and crammed it in. So the gameplay is a hybrid. It's kind of like Sekiro. It's kind of like Dark Souls. What I would say is it's nothing like Bloodborne. Like, it doesn't have an actual like a mechanic where you would like interrupt an attack or anything like that I've seen. It does seem more like the parry mechanic system from Sekiro. The difference being, in Sekiro, when you're going to parry, you just tap block at the right time. In this game, you have to be holding blocks, the shells on you, and then when they're about to strike, you release. So it's like you're taking your shell off and boosh, you stagger them, and then you can get the counterattack combo or whatever. So it's a little bit different, but at the same time, it's the same premise. And what I'll say is this: 3 hours in, there's things I like, there's things I don't like. I like the atmosphere of the game. The level design, the underwater kingdom is interesting to me. I am finding a lot of fun in that, and I think that it's going to continue to be interesting the more that we play. I am enjoying, for the most part, the exploration, meaning, oh, you go over here, you find a hidden area. Oh, look, there's a crystal there for upgrading, and oh, I found a rare item to upgrade my health and stuff like that. It's fun. It's that whole idea that there's a world for you to explore. It's not just linear, go here, there, and survive. It's you really want to spend your time looking around for the optional stuff. The one thing that really is annoying me in the game so far, I would say, is that it is a little bit on the wonky side. What does that mean? When you're playing a FromSoft game, for the most part, unless you're playing like Demon's Souls or the first Dark Souls, especially now that you play a game like Elden Ring, you kind of trust all the systems, right? You know that for the most part, everything's going to work well. Like, for example, I was shocked at how good the platforming worked in Elden Ring, that you stick the jump almost all the time, that everything feels like it's well designed in the universe, right? In another Krabs Treasure, there is some wonkiness. For example, sometimes they want you to grapple across a series of hooks with this line of fishing line, and you're doing it, and all of a sudden the camera just won't aim right at the next hook, and then you can't hit it, and you fall. But I'm easily, you know what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to go across. I don't really control the camera at all times. Why did it stop working mid-platforming? Annoying. Now you got to go back and start again. Sometimes you'll land square on a platform and still slip off. And it happened a few times yesterday, and I was like, that's stupid. You know, obviously, if it's a platformer with this much platforming in it, it should be solid, and it feels like half the time it's not. It's kind of like slippery and wonky. Same thing with the combat. And I will say this is another thing that I wish they didn't do. Much like in Dark Souls, in order to do anything in this game, you have to release the button for it to take effect. What does that mean? Well, for example, if you're playing a different video game, and you have your controller in hand and you want to dodge, oh, here comes the enemy, press B. And the moment you press B, your character moves out of the way. In another Krabs Treasure, much like in a FromSoft game, when the enemy's about to attack you, you have to press B and then release B. And then the character will dodge. This immediately adds more input delay to your move. So because of that, you actually have to be more predicting of what the enemy's going to do rather than reacting. And that's annoying. I would much rather react, like have good hand-eye coordination and react to an attack to dodge it, than know what the animation looks like so I can recognize the timing so I can do the dodge early in order to get out of the way. For example, that first optional boss that I fought was so annoying to beat because I couldn't just dodge things on reaction. So I had to play him for about 15 minutes to have seen all of his attacks, know how all of them hit, know the variations of each attack, because sometimes it'll look like he's going to slam once, but then he slams 3 times instead. Like, you just have to sit there and learn everything before you have a chance. In other games where things are just on reaction, you can get your move to come out. You don't need to memorize. Instead, you could just play well and beat things for a shot. There are other games that are considered Souls-like games, like the Neo series, that just give you your move the second you press the button. And there's nothing wrong with the Neo series. It's good. So I don't know why every game trying to be like FromSoft has to completely emulate that delay input style. I actually think that's very annoying. And those are just my pet peeves with the game so far. A little bit of wonkiness in the platforming, and definitely the whole delayed controls. Outside of that, the game seems to be pretty fun and ingenious. For 3 hours in, I recommend another Krabs Treasure to those who like FromSoft-style games. But the thing is, I haven't really used a lot of the elements. I haven't parried yet. I just unlocked it. I haven't done a plunge attack yet. I just unlocked it. So until I play more later in the week, I can't give you a better opinion on it. All I can give you is these initial impressions. So far, so good. I really like it. But here's the catch. Because it's not FromSoft, and because it looks cutesy, I guarantee you this game will not have any kind of mainstream appeal. This is not going to be the next Lies of P, per se, because it's not gritty, it's not gory, it's not over-the-top horror. It's kind of a FromSoft-style gameplay game with cutesy stuff, which is fine. I actually think that we should have more games like that. If you're going to have the same style but a different story, different art style, that's good. That's a very good thing. I don't want more of the same. I don't want the same style. It doesn't always have to be gothic horror when you do this style of game. So I'm happy to play a different game in this style, but I can tell you right now, for example, some people are just outright saying, well, I just don't like the game because I don't like how it looks. And it's like, wait, what? So the game has sound mechanics, cool exploration, fun bosses, a lot of neat things, even funny moments, but you're not going to watch it because it looks like a cartoon. You're too far above that, right? Do you understand it's a video game, right? Like, the whole point of video games is to have fun. It's not supposed to be, to ultra challenge myself with some gothic horror where everyone's limbs got to get ripped off and shoved up each other's asses, and it's always torturously, ridiculously over the top, scary, gory, or adult oriented. Like, that's not what video games are supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about fun and entertainment, and this game has that in droves for various different reasons. Yeah, it may look like a Disney movie, but at the same time, it actually plays like a very challenging FromSoft game. So what's wrong with that? Why does every again, Souls-like have to be this gritty horror? I don't get it. So far I like it. And yes, I am going to continue to play it in the schedule. So I guess what we should do now is talk a little bit more about that schedule. But what I'd like to also do is talk about Helldivers 2 last night. Okay? So last night, it was the first ever late night stream of Helldivers 2 that I had played. Previously to that, I've always played Helldivers 2 as a daytime stream. And it always has been about 3-hour, installments of it. And I've been playing it now for what, about a month? Just under a month? I think I started playing it in early April. And I've gone pretty far. At this point now, I'm up to level 20. And I've got a solid amount of unlocks and things like that. Great stratagems, good loadout. And I'm getting better at the game the more that I play. Last night, it was kind of like basically a really... let me just put it this way. It was starting off really annoying. Like, I remember, like, the first mission, something went wrong. I can't remember what it was. And then the second mission, it was like, we dropped and immediately, like, we were swarmed. And there was, like, no chance to do anything. The thing is, I have to start playing at level 7 difficulty, which is considered suicide mission difficulty. That's the only difficulty where you start getting the pink collectibles. What are they called? Samples. And you need those in order to get the better level upgrades for things like your eagle drops. So I wanted to get those, but you have to play at such a difficulty that sometimes you just automatically get overwhelmed right from the get-go, and it's really hard to recover. So I remember, like, the first hour, I hit level 20, but man, it was very frustrated. And it actually, it kind of pissed me off. The second hour, things got much better. And I actually had, get this, the craziest, most epic Helldivers 2 game I've done so far in the 20 hours I've played. Actually, it's more like 22 hours, I think, that I've played, something like that. Basically, here's what happened, all right? We were doing a mission where we're supposed to rescue the civilians. This is the one where you evacuate them, and they run, and, they get to the safety or whatever, and then while you're doing that, a bunch of enemies show up to try to kill you or thwart your plans, and then you got to escape after. So first of all, our team was very jumbled. They weren't really doing the objectives properly. We kind of getting split up. So because of that, it was kind of a mess to begin with. But when we finally got to the final area where we needed to evacuate the humans, we started doing it, and it was going really well. I think we had to evacuate 20. And we had it up to like 18 humans. Okay? And then all of a sudden, boom, the Terminids come in so many numbers that it's like unstoppable. They just came in like a wave, a tidal wave of enemies. And we're doing our best, but at the very same time, the fire tornadoes are coming out too. So now not only are we battling a wall of enemies, but now fire tornadoes are coming from behind. It's like an unwinnable thing. So what ended up happening was we all died except one person. And we had no reinforcements left. So it was on this person to survive several minutes on their own in order to get, the reinforcement going. So it was fun to watch because, man, they were really trying to survive hard. They were getting chased and everything, and they did real well. And then finally, yes, they got the reinforcement. Of course, they reinforced, and it's me. Not the other two teammates, but me. I'm like, oh, I'm not good at this game. Well, I'll do my best. So immediately as I'm trying to get my bearings and start getting my loadout, my teammate dies. So now it's all on me. And I'm like, oh, crap. So immediately what I do is I try to get the two prisoners, or not two prisoners, two evacuees ready so we could just escape. I'm thinking maybe I can just get them in there. I can evacuate myself or whatever. So I do it. And it says 19 of 20 completed, 20 of 20 completed. And the mission doesn't end. And I'm staring at it like, what? It says 20 of 20. I've evacuated all 20 that was supposed to be evacuated, and the mission isn't dinging for me so we can go to the evacuation portion. Immediately as this happens, another giant wave of Terminids shows up, and I'm by myself. And I'm like, well, this is a bunch of bullshit. So I start running for the hills, and I run for like 3-4 minutes while I'm waiting for the reinforcement to recharge. I'm basically desperately trying to survive, and I've got 2 Bile Titans on my ass. It's just going crazy, right? So finally, after 2.5 to 3 minutes of avoiding Terminids, because there's no way I'm going to kill them all by myself, I can finally get a reinforce. So I reinforce, and we very carefully approach, and then we do another survivor. It had to be 21. I don't know why. It said 20 of 20 on the screen. And then when the 21st survivor evacuated, it says, oh, you completed the mission. And then it said we could evacuate. So then we were able to summon the other people, and we got out of there. So basically, it was crazy nail-biting action in Helldivers 2 last night. It was the closest match I ever seen, and we did it. We got it done. We actually did all evacuate. Actually, the truth is, we didn't all evacuate. As we were evacuating, another wave of Terminids hit, and we were trying to fend them off, and everyone died but me. I was the only person. I jumped into the evacuation vehicle at the last minute and airlifted out. It was just me that made it out. It was crazy. I was like, holy shit, that was so epically close. So, it was crazy good. But, want to be honest? It was actually the least attended, least engaged, least supported stream of Helldivers 2 I've ever done. Probably, I'm thinking, because of the time shift. Like, we didn't even have 350 viewers. We barely had 300 for most of the stream. People were kind of barely talking in the chat. Half the time, I was like, what's going on in the chat? Everyone was like, oh, I'm doing something else. I'm doing something else. Okay, well, as long as you're watching, I guess, but no one was really talking, right? And then, on top of that, support was awful. Right? I think I made $7 of super chats and like $10 in tips. That was the whole night. So, listen, I'm not complaining. I actually had a really good premiere stream of Another Krabs Treasure. It's not the end of the world. The sky is not falling. But I saw a distinct change from this being a daytime stream to a nighttime stream. And I'm not sure what to do, because here's the deal. I can't have every game be a daytime stream. It's just not possible. Okay? Right now, with the games that I'm playing, if I'm going to keep playing Fallout 4, that has to be a daytime stream, or we're never going to make any progress in it, right? Another Krabs Treasure is a brand new game that I like, and if I'm going to make progress in it, again, I got to play it as a daytime stream, okay? So those are basically my 2 daytime streams right now. I am playing Street Fighter 6 at night, and that does do well at night. You know, we get people to come out for it, which is good. I'm glad that that game has found a home as a late night, you know, fighting game stream in the rotation. But Helldivers 2 is multiplayer. And, you know, yes, I've done it as daytime streams up to now. But there's just not much that I can really do. I can't make every stream a daytime stream. I can't clone myself and have 2 channels streaming at the same time. Because, you know, some people have even said things like, why don't you stream earlier? What you want me to stream at 7 in the morning, my time? So, I mean, if I do that, I'm going to have my schedule all thrown off for, like, normal days. You know what I mean? Like, I certainly, if I'm streaming 7 in the morning, it means I can't stream at night. It means there would be no night stream at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, it would probably be, I stream ultra early, and then I take a break, and then I stream again, and then that's it. There's no late night stream at all, right? So, the thing is, I'm basically streaming as much as I can in the right time frame of what would be considered daytime hours for me. And I can't really do much else about it. Not every game can be the primetime day stream. So, it sucks, because, like, I like Helldivers 2. I absolutely like the game a lot. I want to keep playing it, but I'm not going to play it ongoing if when I play it, people aren't paying attention and there's no support and everyone's basically acting like they're bored. Because again, is it the game? If I play it as a day stream, it's the opposite. So it's not the game, it's the time slot. I don't even know what else to say about that, right? Maybe what it is, there are just certain games that do well in certain time slots and others that don't. And maybe that's just what it is. I don't know. You know, for me, I've enjoyed my month in Helldivers 2. I feel like we're getting to the point where my loadout is going to reach almost optimal. We're almost to the point where I can unlock a new, what do they call it? War Bond. We're at 920 of the credits, and you need 1,000 to unlock the War Bond, which is a whole new thing of loadouts of skills and things. Or not skills, but weapons and things. So, I'm excited, you know, for that. I want to do it. I've put effort into this game. Like I said, pretty much 20 hours of gameplay in the last month that I've really enjoyed. And I want to keep playing it. But again, it very well could be thus. All right? And I'm just proposing this. And you guys can answer me. I don't know. This is a game that really shines when you have a team where people are communicating and there's camaraderie and stuff like that. As you know, I'm not going to play it like that. I don't play any games like that, and that's not going to change. So, as me being a random guy that just drops in to random games like that, right? You're going to have limitations of what you can do. Maybe what's happened is I've now played the game for 20 hours. Most people have seen what the game has to offer. You're tired of the Terminids. You're tired of the automatons. You wish there was something new. Right now, it's just grind and unlock stuff. There's not much else to it, right? Maybe if and when a update comes out and there's a new game mode or a new race of enemies to fight or something like that, maybe then that's what it'll happen. Maybe it'll pick up then, right? People will be more excited for it. But that was really the first time me playing Helldivers 2 where I was like, wow, like no one is really engaging. Everyone's kind of just quiet and keeping to themselves in the chat, and that almost never happens when I play the game. And like I said, the support was really, really low, and I was like, wow, complete and utter opposite attitude from when I usually play this game. So, and again, the only thing I can say is that I changed the time slot because it's a multiplayer game. It makes more sense to do it in 2-hour increments at night because you can stop whenever you want, as opposed to, you know, I don't want to have a game that's a lengthy RPG like Fallout 4 that has hype right now behind it, or a new game like Another Krabs Treasure that, you know, we want to play as much as we can. Those don't make sense as night streams right now. I'm not saying that they won't eventually make sense as night streams, but for now they just don't. So, FYI, I'm not sure what to do about Helldivers right now. I do have another stream of it possibly scheduled for later in the week, but now I'm kind of second guessing it and thinking maybe instead of Helldivers 2 again, I should play Elden Ring. I don't know. Then again, I also don't know how Elden Ring is going to perform as a late night stream, because that's also going to be a late stream this week. I'll talk about that in a second, okay? So anyway, that was yesterday. Let's talk about the schedule for the week now. Today's React Day. As soon as this podcast ends, we're going to all head over to the DSP Reacts channel, and we're going to do the DSP versus the Internet Weekly Clip Show, where it's the channel members over there that nominate clips for me to watch. And FYI, it seems like we just have a regular group of members now, which is great because we have enough clips to support the show, to keep the channel viable and going. So thanks. If you like that show, I recommend becoming a member today, and that way you can nominate your own clips and you can be a part of the show. It's a really cool, interactive way to be a part of the content and to support that effort to keep reacting in my schedule. Tonight on the late stream, as I've already stated, we'll also be continuing the retro react of the Walking Dead Telltale game on my DSP Throwback channel. That's at 6:45 p.m. Pacific time. I hope you'll check that out. That's been really fun to go back down memory lane, a playthrough from 2012, and re-experience it live with an audience. I don't even remember particularly the plot of the game, so there's a lot of twists and things happening that are shocking to me because I just don't remember them. Tonight we're going to finish up episode 3 and get into episode 4. Tomorrow, Monday, we're back to gameplay. The daytime stream here will be Fallout 4, which I'm very stoked for. As you know, I'm exploring, I'm leveling, I'm doing this cool melee idiot savant build, and I'm enjoying it a lot, and I can't wait for more of that tomorrow. We actually just ran into the Brotherhood of Steel, so we should actually make some good progress and maybe get a lot of leveling in, because when you do story missions in this game, you earn a ton of experience points. So I'm probably going to stick to maybe the Brotherhood story for a while to see if I can level up significantly. Tomorrow night, late stream, Elden Ring, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's what you've been waiting for. It's the Hay League tree. Okay? The hardest part of the game, by far. Hardest dungeon, but most challenging bosses, crazy ending with Millennia. You know how it goes. Or is it Millennia? It's Millennia, right? Or is it Melania? I don't even remember how to say her name anymore. But it's going to be wild, and I hope that you guys will join me. Certainly, we're not getting to Melania tomorrow. Remember, Hay League tree is very long, very challenging, so it's probably going to be many streams before we even get to her. But I'm excited for it. I hope you'll join me on the late stream. But again, Elden Ring, this entire playthrough where I've gone back to Elden Ring, you know, in the last month, has been day streams. Will Elden Ring do well at night? Or will people not show up for the night stream? I don't know. You know what I mean? I guess we're going to see together. I hope it does well. Tuesday will be more Another Krabs Treasure. And Tuesday night will be Street Fighter 6 as I do a little bit of warm-ups in casual play with Zangief. But then I return to ranked and I try to rank him up to master level. I don't know how it's going to go, but I'm excited. And then on Wednesday, day stream again will be Fallout 4. And the night stream on Wednesday is up in the air. And what I mean there is it could be Helldivers 2, or it could be Elden Ring. I guess what I want to do is I want to see how things go Monday night. We already know Helldivers 2 sadly did not do well as a night stream. Okay? It's just fact. Let's see how Elden Ring does tomorrow night as a night stream. If it does well, Hay League tree, then I'll do that again on Wednesday night. If it doesn't do well, then maybe we'll do Helldivers. I don't know. I want my night streams obviously to do well. And when I say do well, again, it's not just about making money. It's about having people engaged and having fun. For example, for many months, I played Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, and it didn't do well making me money. but it was actually a fun experience because the audience that was there was engaged and having a good time and constantly talking and laughing and you know, being social. And that didn't happen with Helldivers 2 last night. The stream was almost dead half the time, and that's not good. I'm not here just playing games for myself. All right? I'm here to play games with all of you and have a good social experience. And if I'm not having that, then that's the point of streaming it, right? So we got to find the right mix. Let's see how it goes for the rest of this week, and we'll go from there. Now, keep in mind, as of now, I don't have plans to do any new games until May 21st, because on May 21st, there's both Hellblade 2 as well as the System Shock remake. So those two games I'm very, very interested in, okay? And I hope that people will hang around to watch all the fun stuff that I'm going to be doing between now and then, all right? I'm very excited for Fallout 4, you know, a game I haven't played now in 12 freaking years. Excuse me, 9 freaking years is what I meant to say. And now seeing it with the next gen update, 60 frames, doing a melee build, it's very different, and I'm excited for that. I hope that you guys will join me for those. This Another Krabs Treasure right now is quite good. But outside of that, I'm not sure, you know, what else is going to be in demand. If any other games do happen to come out and stick out and you guys are interested in seeing me play, please, by all means, let me know. But this is the plan, essentially, for the next 3 weeks. We're going to balance all these games that I'm playing until the new games release. Okay? All right. Now, we have already talked about the fact that we're going to have some kind of a marathon at the end of May. What will it be? At this point, I am heavily leaning towards an indies marathon. I think that doing an independent games marathon would make a lot of sense because I haven't done one of these in many years. It would give me opportunity to be exposed to a bunch of games that I've likely never played. And on top of all of that, I now have a mini PC that can play most games on Steam. So we have opportunity for people to nominate a bunch of these indie-style games and to actually check them out for the very first time. All right? So I think that could be really, really interesting and fun for variety. So let me know if that's what you think. Unless you guys have an idea of something different, I think an Indies Marathon at the end of May will make sense and hit it right on the head of what we're looking for. Something different around here. All right? Okay. I have one other topic to discuss today. I'm trying to remember if I have any game news to talk about, because I don't think there's much significant game news going on right now at all. Oh, actually, you know what? I'll very briefly do a game news segment. You ready for this? Here we go. This is going to be funny. Ready for this one? Right now, Evo Japan is going on, which is the Japanese version of a very top-level fighting game tournament. And it's all different fighting games, including, yes, Street Fighter 6, but also Tekken 8, Guilty Gear, Blaze Blue, not Blaze Blue, that Grand Blue Fantasy Versus game. You know, many different fighting games. As they're streaming the event on Twitch, Twitch bans them. I'm not kidding you. Twitch erroneously banned Evo Japan, and everyone is trying to figure out why. Was it because something happened on stream and a company actually hit them with a copyright strike? Was it because a malicious troll impersonated a company and lied? No one could figure it out, but they were banned for like 4 or 5 hours. And then apparently they disputed it and it was auto removed, which is what used to happen to me. Do you remember when I was on Twitch? People would hit me with a false copyright strike out of nowhere. And then I would have to apply my dispute to that. Like, you could do a counterclaim and say, no, this is wrong. And it would take them many hours. And then eventually they would process the counterclaim and then your stream would go back online. So imagine you're just a big, event and you're streaming on Twitch and they literally ban you for no good reason, right? So it used to be, oh, well, everyone's kind of immune if they're big. It's just the small time guys that get attacked. No, in this case, even big events now are getting attacked on Twitch by false copyright strikes. So at this point, I'm just going to be honest here. You ready for this? It's time to ditch Twitch. Folks, they're the most unprofessional website on the planet. They take nothing seriously. They blanket grant fake claims and don't actually verify them. They just hit you with the claim and don't vet the claim at all. And if they're not going to just do it to individuals, they're going to do it to major events. Just don't stream there anymore. It's time to everyone put their foot down and says, ditch Twitch, fuck this. This site is not professional enough for us to be doing business on. It's time to stop this stupid internet mentality that, oh, Twitch is the place to stream, man. Twitch is no, stop. Just stop. Because literally it's not. It doesn't even have enough quality to properly fucking stream games. They don't even have the bandwidth. They don't allow you to stream at a good bit rate for modern gaming. They don't care about the quality of what's on the site. All they care about is making money. So it's time to stop with this nonsense and ditch Twitch and go to places that are going to support you. Whether that would be YouTube, whether that's Kick, whether that's somewhere else, just get the fuck off of Twitch. Let them go out of business. I mean it. Just let them go out of business. If everyone would in droves quit Twitch right now, they would go out of business because there wouldn't be enough revenue to support their bullshit model anymore. Just stop it. You know? It's like an individual I can understand. If I get banned from Twitch for bullshit reasons, it's because they don't want to deal with trolls. There's no reason for them to be banning Evo. They're out of their fucking minds. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to run their company. Stop using them. Right? If you go to a store and you get mistreated by the employees 10 times in a row, do you go back to the store? If you go to the restaurant and they get your order wrong 10 times in a row, do you keep going back to the restaurant? Or do you finally throw your arms up and say, fuck this, they don't know what they're doing, I'm not giving them my business anymore? Stop using Twitch. It's fucking terrible. It really is bad for the internet. It's bad for the gaming community. It's bad for everyone. It's bad business. Stop using them just because you think you're going to get some kind of traction and be noticed on Twitch. They're fucking trash. Okay. That's the gaming news for today. All right. So what I would like to do right now is just very briefly talk about the future of DSP Throwback. As you know, DSP Throwback is a project I started in January for posterity of my oldest content. Notably, playthroughs that have been disappearing from the internet because they were on channels, legacy channels that got banned for being hacked and misused. For example, I had a channel called Red Dead DSP that had all Rockstar content on it, and it got hacked and stolen and then shut down. I had a channel called, I think it was like DSP Final Fantasy 13 or something like that, and that channel also got shut down. Same reason. So what's been happening is these missing playthroughs have been remastered in full HD, 1080p, 60 frames per second upscaling, better audio, everything scrubbed, and put into 30-minute parts, proper thumbnails, proper titles, and every day a new part goes live over on DSP Throwback, with some exceptions, and sometimes my editors get backlogged a little bit. But for the most part, it's a daily new release. So far, okay, we have Final Fantasy 13 that's been going for almost 3 months. Well, actually over 3 months, and it's almost done. Final Fantasy 13 will be completed within about another week or two. Okay, we're that close to the end. Red Dead Redemption, the entire original playthrough is live on the channel. And currently we have started the Fallout 3 playthrough from 2008, one of my oldest and poorest looking playthroughs that is currently being remastered. We're up to, I believe as of this morning, 9 parts and climbing, and that one's going very strongly as well. So, I hope if you haven't checked it out yet, you will check out the DSP Throwback channel. The question is, now with Final Fantasy 13 ending in the next week or two, what's the next project? So, what I need to do is ask all of you, outside of, you know, well, not outside of, but my classic playthroughs. I'm talking about the playthroughs where I used to aim my camera at a TV, so the visual quality and the audio is terrible, all right? Out of those older playthroughs with those shorter 10-minute parts, what would be the next video series that you would like to see on the Throwback channel, okay? Now, one of the ones that's an absolute shoe-in that I know some people will recommend is LA Noire, because LA Noire is a playthrough that's also currently missing from the internet. It was on that Red Dead DSP Rockstar-oriented channel that was hacked and shut down. So right now, you cannot watch my original LA Noire playthrough anywhere. It doesn't exist. And if you remember, I actually named it Dicks with Guns. You might say, wait, what? Yes, because back then I was so afraid that YouTube was going to like shut down and block the playthrough of LA Noire that I basically titled the game Dicks with Guns for the first like 10 to 15, 20 parts. And then I started retitling it saying LA Noire. It was very funny. I know, and even you'll see in the first few parts, I say Dicks with Guns instead of LA Noire, right? So, that's definitely a possibility. And I feel like LA Noire eventually is going to be remastered and put on that channel no matter what. It's coming. Okay? But outside of that, what other playthroughs would you guys be interested in seeing? Now, I'm getting some suggestions. Dead Space 1 and 2. Well, here's the thing. Dead Space 1, there's no playthrough to remaster. My Dead Space 1 playthrough wasn't a playthrough. It was a highlight series. This was before I actually did full playthroughs. I did highlights. You know how they do YouTube shorts now? Well, that's actually what I did. I would do like a minute or 2-minute clip of just a really scary moment in the gameplay. And that's how I covered games. And then people started asking and requesting for longer length full playthroughs. And then I changed my format. So Dead Space 1, I can't do because there is no full playthrough. It's just a few clips. All right. So that's out of the case. Now, some people said Dead Space 2 could do that. Dead Space 2 absolutely was an old style camera playthrough. So that one could be redone. Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. Sure, I could do that. Again, that's a playthrough that was the old camera style. So I'm sure a lot of the parts don't look very good. That one could be redone if that's what you're interested in. Indigo Prophecy. Now, that's an interesting one. For those who don't know the history, I played Heavy Rain. I loved Heavy Rain. And I wanted to do another game from that same studio, but all their games were very outdated. Like the last game before Heavy Rain was from Quantic Dream was called Indigo Prophecy or Fahrenheit. And man, is that a weird one. It's got the same kind of quick time events and choices and stuff. But dude, it's weird. It's got weird stealth segments. It's got fucking aliens and weird shit in it. And so I did a full playthrough of it for like Halloween 2010. And it was a weird one for sure. But here's the thing. This is what I'd be a little nervous about. That game has licensed music in it. And it's actually a key part of the game. And sadly, the licensed music 100% gets claimed and blocked on YouTube. So I would have to have my editors find all the different licensed music and edit it out, or at least edit it enough so that the videos could at least be listened to and not muted. Because that's the worst part, is when YouTube mutes your fucking video. And it's like, why do I want a video with no sound? You fucking idiots. It's just, they're so dumb. You know, it's one thing if you're going to claim the ad revenue on one video. I don't really care. It's another thing if you mute my video. Now, I might as well not have made it, right? So that's a tricky one. It's a one that's still possible, but it's definitely a tricky one, okay? Did I release Suicide King's Red Dead Online yet? No. Now, what you mean by that is not the Suicide King series, but the raw gameplay that I did with people online to get the footage of Suicide Kings, correct? I believe it's like maybe 4 or 5 hours of gameplay, so it could be a good 10-video series. That is possible at some point. I do have that archived. I found it at one point, so that is possible. Kirby's Epic Yarn, I mean, that's definitely a possibility. All right. Now, I just want to remind everyone, because some people are recommending more recent games. The whole idea of DSP Throwback is to kind of remaster old playthroughs for posterity or react to old playthroughs. When I say old playthroughs, I mean pre-direct capture. Anything that's after direct capture, I don't think really fits the throwback format or formula. Keep in mind, I've made videos from late 2008 all the way through early 2014 before I ever did direct capture, or 2013, excuse me, before I ever did direct capture. So you're talking like a 5-year span of videos that we could remaster for the channel. That's really what the goal is, not to take things more recently. So I know some people are saying, oh, what about Until Dawn or something like that? Those videos look fine. There's no reason to remaster those at this point. So anyway, yeah, what would you guys like? So far, some suggestions you guys made. Dead Space 2, Indigo Prophecy, right? What was the other one? Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. Okay. Do you have any other suggestions? Because I'm definitely looking for some good suggestions, and you know, I'm debating, should I make a poll on the channel? I'm not sure. We basically have like a week and a half to 2 weeks to figure this out. And then what I got to do is find the raw videos and start giving it to my editors to start working on the new project. So let's think about it. Let's talk about it maybe for the next couple of days. Infamous 1. Infamous 1 could be an interesting one. Yeah, sure. Infamous 1 was a great game, a great playthrough. And that one could work as a remastered series over there. Sure. Okay, that's another good suggestion, I would say. Ooh. Assassin's Creed 2. What do you guys think about that? The original Assassin's Creed 2 playthrough. That could work. I mean, everyone holds Assassin's Creed 2 in such high regard, right? Borderlands, like Borderlands 1? That was a very old playthrough as well. Okay, I'm getting some good ideas. All right, I would say for me, those top candidates, I would definitely say a Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, Assassin's Creed 2, possibly Borderlands 1, right? Those are some good suggestions. And of course, LA Noire, right? All right, what I like to do, I got to talk to my editors as well, because sometimes there's a reasoning to do something. Like, for example, with Fallout, Fallout was a great idea because we got to take the old really skewed footage that was me doing a 4:3 aspect ratio video of a widescreen TV at a crooked angle, and it was an opportunity for them to see, can we stretch it out? Can we upscale it? Can we actually scrub the audio so the audio doesn't get copyright claim on YouTube? And that's really the goal of that playthrough, why they wanted to work on that one right away. So, and it's working, by the way. Like, so far, only one part has got a claim on it. I've already disputed it. It looks like I'm going to win it. So, for that playthrough is actually going swimmingly well. So let's think about it, but let me know if you guys have any more suggestions. Man, that Assassin's Creed 2 is a great suggestion. I didn't even think about that. That's, again, one of my epic playthroughs from back in the day that a lot of people really, really liked. So maybe that's the suggestion. Maybe Assassin's Creed 2 could be the next one. Or LA Noire is definitely a candidate, because that one needs to be re-uploaded for posterity purposes. It doesn't even exist anywhere. You know what I mean? Okay. All right, guys. So now, one final thing I'll remind you of as we get into the final segment of the show. On React Day, these streams that I do, one on DSP Reacts and one on DSP Throwback, these streams are the primary ways that I get support on those channels. No exaggeration, the videos on those channels, ad revenue-wise, don't make a lot. So really, it's these streams that keep those channels going. Today, please support the streams on the React channels if you can. I would really appreciate that. In particular, with the DSP Reacts channel, becoming a member of some level, gets you the ability to nominate the videos for the show and supports the channel. On the Throwback channel, the live stream over there, it keeps that channel going. Like, that channel is making, like I said, maybe like $1 a day on ad revenue. So any contributions during that late night stream tonight would be great. Now, any contributions right now in the next, 20, 25 minutes to the end of this podcast count towards the first stream over on the React channel. So if you can't be here for the React show, but you like the React content, please support this stream right now, and that'll help out that channel as well. Okay? All right. So now we get to shout outs, and we start today with Orcs or Dorks, who re-upped his membership for 35 months in a row and says, "Sup, guys." What's up, Orcs or Dorks? I don't know if you're still here. Thanks for hanging out, and welcome to the channel, and thank you for the support. And BattleDuck9000, 32 months as a member, and did this. Like, basically did it like a ASCII code body going like this. Now, I don't know if this is praise the sun. I don't know if he's just raising the roof or rejoicing for the nice day. I don't know. But thank you, BattleDuck, for that. Literally outside of that, I don't have anything to shout out. I have no super chats, no memberships, no gifted memberships, and no tips to shout out. So please, guys, if you can, support the stream today. Again, this will help support the React projects, all right? Thank you to Jared, who just upped his membership at the Ultra level for 14 months and says, "Praise the sun," and did a praise sun emote. Thank you, Jared, for that. I appreciate that. Ironman the Power says he watched Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and one episode of the Knuckles Show. Oh, the Knuckles Show came out? Interesting. I wonder if it's any good. I saw the Sonic 2 movie. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. I thought it was all right. It was like a perfect popcorn flick, kind of brainless movie. It did have a lot of silly stuff in it, but it was perfectly entertaining for me. So there you have it. But I don't know about this show, nor am I going to really watch the Knuckles Show. I don't really care. So, all right. All right, so if you guys would like to talk with me, please tag me in the chat. And if any contributions come in, I'll shout them out. Dab Ann says, "Would you remaster Homefront? I know the review of that was big on the channel. Are you talking about the Revolution? Homefront the Revolution is from 2016. That's, again, direct capture. If you're talking about the original Homefront from many, many, many years ago, that was not direct capture. That was the old style, and it looked like crap. Would I remaster it? If there was demand, but I don't think many people liked the game, so I don't think there would be demand for that. People Person says, "I couldn't find the segment where you mentioned the PS5 V2 controller. Is it coming soon?" I don't know. All I saw was a piece of promotional art for it. and a bunch of people were commenting on it, like gaming journalist types were commenting on it, what they thought, and then I made the comment about the increased battery life, but I haven't seen an official article. I don't think it has a release date yet. How much has Helldivers 2 grown on me so far? Well, it's just like I said. It's like, at first, I didn't know that the game played like that, nor did I know that dropping in a random match would actually work. I thought it was the kind of game where you really need to have that kind of communication to work. Like, for example, Apex Legends. No, dropping in with randoms in Apex Legends will never work. You need to have a good sound team of people communicating, right? I thought it was that style of game, but it's definitely not. Has it grown on me? Sure. I like the different enemy types. I like that every time I play, I'm leveling up and unlocking something new. If I played a series of streams and I never had new weapons and new stratagems, new anything, I probably would lose interest. But the fact that I'm constantly unlocking new stuff is great and keeps the interest going, okay? So that's what I like about it. But, yeah, you know, I feel like we're going to get to a point where, yes, is it fun to play? Sure. But is it fun to watch? And maybe that's the problem, is maybe that's what the point we've hit, is that the audience is kind of tired of seeing the same repetitive stuff. And since I'm not teaming up with people and it's not a stream of camaraderie between streamers, but instead it's just me kind of playing a multiplayer game, maybe the appeal has died out, right? Double M says, I've noticed it's been a good while since the last Nintendo game playthrough. How come? Because there are none. Like, what Nintendo games have come out of any note? You know, I played Mario Wonder. I loved it. Right? Since then, I mean, I also played Mario RPG Remake. I loved it. But since then, there hasn't been anything of note besides the Princess Peach platformer. And number one, it just came out at a bad time when there was a million other games out that I was already playing. And number two, considering the fact that Mario Wonder, the best Mario platformer to come out in ages, didn't really do well on my channel, I figured doing a spin-off Princess Peach platformer probably would also not do well, and that's why I skipped it. I already played Azura's Wrath when it was a new release. I don't know why you're saying I couldn't play it in the day because of copyright. That's completely false. I played it. Yes, I'm doing the Elden Ring DLC in June. That's why I'm doing my second run of Elden Ring now, actually. X-Shooter says he's watching X-Men 97 and it's pretty good. I'm glad you're liking it. I've heard that everyone on the internet pretty much is liking it. I'm glad you feel that way. Dentronic says the Mario Wonder was a fantastic playthrough and I ended up buying the game. I'm glad to hear that. I'm just Ken. I already answered you about Azura's Wrath. Do not post that in the chat again. I literally just answered that, and I'm not going to repeat myself. Spam that comment one more time. I'm going to time you out. There's nothing like someone who spams the chat with a comment over and over. I address it, and then they don't listen, and they spam it again. Okay, now you're getting timed out. Obviously, he's doing it on purpose now. So enjoy your 5-minute timeout. What about Fable for DSP Throwback Remasters? Yeah, actually, one of my earliest full playthroughs was Fable 2. Because people actually requested a full playthrough of that one when it came out. Before then, I was just doing highlights. And people were like, well, could you do a full playthrough? And then they said, what about Fable 2? And I did do a full playthrough of Fable 2. I could do a remaster of that. I'll be honest with you, I don't remember it at all. Like, I don't remember Fable 2 in any way, shape, or form. Because I only played it the once. And it was one of my earliest playthroughs, so I have no recollection of it. I don't know if people would like that, though. It is a very old playthrough. Any chance I'll go back to Dragon's Dogma 2? Probably not. I'll be honest with you. The game was very repetitive. Basically felt exactly like the first game at this point. It wasn't getting traction. People weren't liking it that much. And I kind of already got burnt out on it. I feel like if I'm going to go back to an RPG, it would be Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, if I even do. But I don't think that Dragon's Dogma 2, honestly, that I'm going to be caring that much about it. You know? I'm sorry I hate to say this, but I think Dragon's Dogma 2, if you guys didn't notice this, I think it's just a remake of 1. Did you notice that on the title screen of the game, it doesn't say 2? On the title screen of Dragon's Dogma 2, it literally just says Dragon's Dogma. I think what they were going for, because remember, it's been over a decade since the original game. I think they were actually remaking the original game and didn't say anything. And Capcom didn't want to market it like that. So they called it 2, but it's not. It feels like you're playing the first game again with some modern tweaks. But, dude, it feels like you're playing the first game again. So I don't think I'm going to do that. Just being honest. You know, every game has a window to kind of be played, right? So Blue12356 has done our first tip of the day, $1 tip. Says, you know, I'm not really a fan of React stuff, but I do want to support you today. Do you think day streams do better because of the podcast? Maybe that's why Helldivers doesn't do good on the night stream. You know, I don't know. Sometimes I do feel like people come to the early stream just for the podcast, and then sometimes they'll stick around and sometimes they won't. There are definitely days when the podcast does really, really well. When it comes to support, I don't necessarily know if that's every day. Like, take a look at today, right? Today, this is one of the slowest podcasts that I've had in a long time, and it's okay. It's fine. Doesn't always have to be a crazy success or anything like that. It definitely could be a factor. Sure, right? Sure. Maybe. I don't know. Maximum Turbo says, I would say the podcast has good traction, maybe more so than gameplay some days, but it's in terms of viewership, not contributions, in my opinion. Yeah, I think so too. I think we always have pretty consistent viewership and following of the podcast, correct? I think so. And then sometimes that carries into the gameplay, sometimes it doesn't. On the night stream, it's just the gameplay, so maybe that's a factor. You maybe have Blue may be onto something. Excuse me. All right. What else would you guys like to talk about this morning? That's true. I have no enemy says I should basically take the fisherman's hat that we were doing 2 years ago for Bassmaster and get it ready for another Krabs treasure if we hit the tip skull. He's right. What I got to do is take some of the dangerous lures off the dang thing because we had so many lures on that thing that some of them had big hooks and stuff that were like hanging around. And every time I put it on, I would be nervous. I'm going to like hook myself. So I think if I just scale it down a bit, I can make it more viable for that playthrough. And I probably will. Yes, Joel Loft says June and July are mostly dead. Maybe you can catch up on games then. Yeah, typically the summer's always dead, right? Let's be honest. Sometimes you'll have like one big game, 2 big games over the entire summer, but a lot of the times there's like nothing. So there's absolutely going to be ample opportunity for me to try to play catch up on certain things. But I still have the extra lures I bought. Yeah, they're in there somewhere. Like the lures and everything. I'm sure. Remember, we did a closet clean out after that summer. So I'm sure the lures are in there in one of my bins or whatever. You know, I didn't throw them out or anything. How do I feel about the melee build in Fallout 4? I'm excited to try it. You know, we're still early in. We're only 5 hours in. I really haven't done that much with it. I'm very excited to see if it can become viable because I know that game has a lot of enemies with guns. Spawn Killer said, did I watch Shogun? No, I did not. I don't have the ability to watch it, I don't think, right? What's it on? I don't think it's on any of the services I have, so no, I have not watched it. Favorite movie theater snacks? Well, first of all, just the classic popcorn with butter is good. M&M's, Milk Duds I used to have a lot. Raisinets, or the bunch of crunch, or Junior Mints. All of those are things that I used to eat when I went to the movie theater. I was never a kid who liked gummies or sour things in the movie theater. Usually not. What are my expectations for the Elden Ring DLC? Basically, just that it's good and lengthy. Being that it's going to be expensive, $40, I'm hoping that it's going to be a very big chunk of gameplay. And it's going to have a lot of legacy-style dungeon content and a lot of cool bosses. So there you go. Hulu and Disney Plus? Yeah, see, I don't have those. That's why I can't see Shogun then. Well, I check out Uden Chronicles. I don't know. I know that it's from the team that made Suikoden, but it's a Japanese turn-based RPG, and people just are not really liking Japanese RPGs these days on my channels, so I don't see if I'll be playing it or not. I don't think so. Not now, anyway. I've never had a snow cap. I don't know what a snow cap is like. I've never had one. I like chocolate, and if they are chocolate, then I probably like it, but I've never actually had a snow cap as a piece of candy at a theater or anything. Am I a fan of the Fatal Fury series? Yeah, I used to play them in arcades back in the day. I mean, it hasn't been around in a million years. Like Mark of the Wolves was the last one, right? So it'll be exciting to see Fatal Fury come back and see if it's any good. Oh, really? Anto Kamaru says Uden Chronicle is fantastic, but very slow. Your chat would never allow it. Maybe in your next life you'll play it. Wow. Have I ever walked out of a movie? No, never. Only because if you're paying the money to see it, you might as well stick through it. Like, even movies that I didn't like I remember my dad and I were a huge fan of Tim Burton stuff. We liked Edward Scissorhands. We liked Beetlejuice. We liked the Batman movies. So we went to see Mars Attacks. We're just sitting there, and we're like, how could this cast, this amazing cast of actors, be in such a bad movie? We couldn't believe how bad the movie was. But we didn't walk out. We stuck in there, and we watched the whole stinker. And man, it was a stinker. That Mars Attacks movie sucks. To this day, I'll tell you, it's still one of my worst movies in my memory that I've ever seen. I can't believe how bad it was. Excuse me. Okay. Let's see here. I received a $2 tip. SD Chargers says you need to remaster the classic Left 4 Dead 4-player co-ops. Well, the thing is about that, it's all multiplayer matches. And the thing is, yes, I have them. Like, I found the folders that have that stuff in it. So I could do that. But what I would have to do is I would have to edit it together into chunks. Like, my editors would probably take, like, a bunch of those matches and edit them all together into 30-minute chunks, if possible. It might be a trickier side to do because every single time the matches ran, they were different length, right? I guess we'd have to see. But it is possible that possibly I could do that if you think that's something worthwhile. I received a $5 tip. Let's see here. It's an anonymous $5 tipper. So hold on a second here. First animation of the day. I have an idea. Go to a crazy marathon like back in the day with a specific goal. I'm not sure what it would be, but I guess it would make sense to do with the Fallout TV series. With the TV show and all, it would definitely get attention. With the money raised, you can fund post-nasal drip surgery. It's good. I think it would work. What are you talking about? First of all, how could I possibly do a marathon just based on the Fallout TV show? I don't know what you mean. Like, what would we do? Play Fallout games? I mean, I'm already doing that. Now, in what universe did we talk about me getting surgery for my post-nasal drip? I'm not sure what's going on. I think this is someone who's like going off the deep end. Like, what are you talking about? Yes, I have post-nasal drip. Some days it's way worse than others. It sucks, but it's not some debilitating illness that's causing me pain or massive discomfort. Certainly, if I had money to spend, I don't think I'd be spending it on superfluous surgery to solve post-nasal drip. I would probably use it on way more important things. I don't know where this came from, right? Some people just come up with weird stuff, but I thank you for the $5 tip. And then I received another $2 tip. Happy React Day. This is an anonymous tipper. This is Happy React Day. Thank you for the $2 tip, whoever that was. I appreciate that. So we're up to $10 in tips. I'll be honest with you guys. I hope that basically there is support on the React stream. Reason I say that, a lot of the times when the React stream doesn't get a lot of support, usually it comes in on the podcast. And again, you know, those channels are primarily funded by the streams, or in the case of the React channel, memberships. If it weren't for the Ultra members and the submission tier members over there who submit the clips, that channel wouldn't even be viable, but it is because we have enough members. So I hope that people will support this stream over on the React channel, because we're about to end the podcast in like 10 minutes. Would I consider jumping back to Alien Isolation on a higher difficulty? I haven't played the game in almost 10 years. If I played it again, I would probably just do a standard playthrough again. If anyone ever wanted to see that, I don't know. But I don't see the point of doing a harder difficulty. People person is asking, was my original Metal Gear Solid 1 playthrough captured? I think all of my original Metal Gear Solid playthroughs were camera. I'm almost positive. All three. Right? Because the first two and 3 were in the HD collection, and that was definitely camera. And then after I played those, people wanted me to play 1, and I did that on PS1, emulated on my PS3, and I think that was also camera. And yes, those could be remastered too, right? Sure. Have I seen an Eddie bot on Twitch win matches by just pressing 3? No. No. Metal Gear games would be great. I found you for Metal Gear Solid 3. This is how you don't play video, and became a fan, says People Person. Sure, many people did back in the day. Those were the biggest. This is how you don't play. That's how actually it started. The whole movement. Excuse me. Ooh. Joloff thinks that my gameplay is better than the React stuff, and that's fine. Not everyone is going to like everything that I do. Some people like various different projects more than others. Like, some people literally absolutely love the throwback stuff. They're loving the retro React streams that I do. They have a great time on there. They're like, man, this is going down memory lane. You know, it's so nostalgic for me. And others just don't get it at all. They're like, I don't understand. You know, him reacting to his old gameplay. What's the big deal? You know, it's different strokes for different folks. But that's why I like to do so much content. And I like to do variety of stuff. It appeals to a wider audience. And that's a good thing, right? If and when I have more information about us starting up our co-op playthrough of Beyond Two Souls, I will let you know. There's literally no reason to ask, because if I'm not talking about it, it means I don't have information about it. I can tell you it's not coming, you know, in the next week. You know, if and when again we're ready for it, I'll let you know. Okay, guys. Any other topics? Any other things to talk about before we swap over? Because remember, we are going to swap over to the React channel. If you're live on the stream, you'll see a pop-up that says, hey, just click over. Everyone's going to the React channel for a fun thing, right? You can head over there. If you're not on stream, I hope you've enjoyed the show. I hope you'll check out the React content on DSP Reacts later today and or over the week. And same thing with the Throwback channel. I hope you'll check that out on DSP Throwback tonight and over the week. I'm glad you'll be on the late stream. I have no enemies. Cool. Is this a Hawaiian or a Bahamian shirt? It's probably Chinese shirt. It's probably made in China like everything else we buy in the United States, right? I honestly don't know where it's made, but as for the style, it just looks like, I don't know, jungle leaves or whatever, island style, right? A nice shirt. I don't know what it's classified as though. Don't really care. Okay, that's it. Are we good? No one's even tagging me in chat. What's up, Game Boy? How are you today? How's it going? Okay, so before we adjourn, final reminder, please support the React stuff. We are heading over now, DSP Reacts. So I hope that you guys will follow me over there and please support that channel. Again, the reason that I get to do the React stuff once a week is because people do support the channel via memberships and the stream. So thanks in advance. All right. Fun podcast today. Hope you enjoyed my thoughts on another Krabs treasure. And we really need to start that discussion about what's the next game for DSP Throwback. Thanks for the initial ideas. I actually like the idea of Assassin's Creed 2, or LA Noire, or you know, something else old that definitely would, like a visual upgrade, like Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, right? Something like that might be interesting. So I will talk to my editors about this, but at the same time, let's continue the discussion over the next several days and try to figure out what to do. In the meantime, thank you all. Can't wait to talk with you tomorrow about how the React day went and go from there. So thank you guys. Have a good day. I'll see you Monday.